Information shared on the following program is for general information purposes only. It does not constitute legal, tax, investment, or other advice, nor is it intended to recommend any particular investments, products, or financial instruments. Always seek advice from your financial advisor, attorney, or accountant with regard to investment, legal, or tax questions.
Wondering why more and more savers are less and less confident about their retirement? Me too.
Welcome to the only show in the country dedicated to helping savers worry less about money, the WorryFree Retirement, with your host, retirement specialist and six-time author and fiduciary, Tony Walker.
The word for the day is confidence. It's an interesting concept to be confident in something because confidence usually implies that one is thinking about the future and the prospects of something happening in it. Our process here at Tony Walker Financial, we refer to this as the WorryFree Retirement process, and it's all about this theory that the more confident a saver is about their money and their plans for it, the more confident they will be about the future and, of course, the idea of their money lasting as long as they do. Yet, according to more and more studies I'm seeing, that's not the case. No, instead of feeling more confident about the prospects of a worry-free retirement, more and more savers are less confident than ever before. The reason? Well, we're going to find out. So welcome, folks, to the Worry-Free Retirement. And yes, I am that little man in the sweater vest, confidence-building specialist, and the world's friendliest financial fiduciary, Tony Walker, and today I'm going to use my vast experience in meeting and working with over 20,000 savers, along with a little pop psychology thrown into the mix, to reveal why many savers are worried about retirement and how we at Tony Walker Financial are helping our clients worry less about running out of money. But before we get into the meat of today's show, let me introduce two young lads who I have the utmost confidence to put this show on each week. America's favorite financial sidekick, Mr. Aaron Orander, along with Louisville, Kentucky's most laid-back graphics artist, Mr. Derek Hudson. So let's take a deeper dive into this article providing results of a recent survey to see just how confident Americans are about their retirement. And note, of all the stats that jump off the page to me is this one. 1/3, 34%, of participants feel very likely to achieve their savings goals. Now listen, that is down from 43% just a year ago. In other words, according to the world of Tony, this tells me that more and more savers are not more confident about their financial future, but less confident. The study also revealed that on average, workers expect to retire at age 66 and believe they will need $1.6 million saved, as well as estimating that their savings will only last about 22 years, which to me, as someone who has specialized in retirement planning longer than most, summarizes what I've been saying for years, and that is this. Without some form of guaranteed lifetime income retirement, something we call mailbox money, people will spend less in retirement because of this fear of one day thinking they might run out of money. This goofy idea of needing some magic number saved for retirement, which just a few short months ago was $1.4 million, for some reason is now $1.6 million, which leads this little man in a sweater vest to arrive at the following conclusion. Most savers are drinking from the wrong trough and need to step back and consider drinking from another one. That's our process, the Worry-Free Retirement, and it's a process that is based on the fact that most savers will need less saved for retirement than they think, and yes, there is a way to guarantee that they won't run out of money. So, how do we create so much confidence for our clients in their retirement? Well, according to the many 5-star reviews you can look at the website at TonyWalkerFinancial.com, the confidence of our clients is not found in some arbitrary magic number, but found in a well-thought-out process that includes safety, security, and the ability to put in place investments that guarantee you won't run out of money. So if you're like the growing number of savers who are less confident about retirement, stay tuned as I share with you how we at Tony Walker Financial help so many savers worry less about money. We'll be right back.
This Tony Walker Financial 5-star review comes to us from Jeff Swisher. The personalized service that we receive from Tony Walker Financial is unmatched in the market. Not only is Tony Walker an excellent fiduciary himself, but his entire team of specialized experts make it really easy for us to get any question answered quickly and efficiently. We know exactly whom we are speaking with when we call and can make adjustments to our plan according to life's unexpected events. If you'd like to read more of our 5-star reviews, simply log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com.
The two most frequent questions I receive from savers who are thinking of retirement is this: Tony, how do I know if I have enough money to retire? And secondly, what can I expect in the way of taxes I will owe on my 401k when I go to draw money from it? And while there are many other financial considerations to bake into the retirement planning cake, the reason these savers do not know nor can seem to find a confident person to answer these questions is due to the fact that they are not speaking to someone trained in the art of retirement planning. You see, folks, while thousands of advisors and big financial institutions have recently entered the retirement planning game, we've been in the forefront of this specialty for decades, long before most people even knew anything about retirement planning and how to help these savers properly transition from work to retirement. So how do we at Tony Walker Financial pull this off? How is it possible for a locally run financial firm able to help thousands of savers who worry less about retirement and thus feel more confident in their futures? Well, I hate to tell you this, folks, but it's not about products. It's all about process and the process we offer. So we're in any field of endeavor. Does a process fit into the equation? And why is having a repeatable process so crucial to building confidence in the future, and more specifically, you as the customer having confidence in the one you're about to trust to handle your life savings? Well, to illustrate this point, I want to go back to my wife Susan's recent bout with countless health issues and subsequent surgeries. In case you didn't see one of our past episodes, and I got Susan's permission for this, by the way, I featured a CT scan of my wife's thyroid and how it revealed that she had a huge mass which turned out to be the size of a grapefruit buried underneath her sternum. But how did we even discover this mass? Because to the naked eye, no one even knew it existed. Well, this was interesting. It was discovered right after she had knee surgery. That's right. As Susan was coming out of knee surgery, for some strange reason, her oxygen levels plummeted, tanking, and no one could figure out why. After an hour or so of breathing treatments, she was sent home since the knee surgeon and those folks didn't specialize in such matters. Days later, after her breathing got even worse, I took her to the ER. That's when the CT scan was done, and that's when the mass was discovered. Now, let's back up a minute and think about all the specialists she saw during this period of time. First, the knee surgeon who specialized in knee surgery. In fact, as we counseled him before the surgery, he boasted in doing more than 15,000 knee surgeries, which in fact in Susan's case went great. But then the thyroid deal pops up, and admittedly, the knee surgeon says, that's not what I do. So what did he do? He referred us to another specialist, an ENT, someone who specializes in this. Now this is where it gets interesting. So we go see the ENT, and after he realizes where this mass was located, guess what he did? He admitted, he said, man, I'm not experienced in taking this out. I'm going to refer you to another thyroid specialist who can handle this, which I loved his honesty. So think about what's going on here. Specialist after specialist is being directed at what? To make sure we are confident that these folks knew what they were doing before Susan went under the knife, which leads to this wonderful formula that applies to surgery and also applies to your finances. Here it is. Confidence in a process, listen, plus lots of repetition equals confidence from the patient and, or in our case, confidence in the saver. Moral to the story, when you are getting ready to retire and you want to make sure that the person you're about to trust with your life savings, think about this, folks, this is your life savings, they're going to have to see you through retirement. It could be 20 or 30 years that you need these individuals. If that's the case for you, you better find someone who has a lot of experience and a lot of repetition in doing what we call retirement planning. Folks, If you're a saver and nearing retirement or already retired, you're probably not going to get a lot of help in planning from a stockbroker or a banker or a wealth manager. What you need is a retirement planning specialist. Someone who first knows the mind of a saver, second has a process, and literally can document the repetition of working on literally thousands of financial written game plans, which is what we do at Tony Walker Financial. So if you're sitting there right now and you really don't have a game plan, you don't have a lot of confidence in where you're going in the future, you could already be retired. We meet a lot of people who've been retired for years and they are still worried about running out of money. We need to talk. And yes, we've made this so easy. We call it the free 10-minute fiduciary phone call. So right now, log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com. Take advantage of this free phone call with me. And if the internet's not your thing, you're not comfortable doing that, no problem. Just call us anytime. That number is 877-499-9255. Well, when we return, I'm going to share with you my pop psychology degree from Western Kentucky University and an interesting study on this whole idea of confidence and how confidence fits into what we do through this theory at Tony Walker Financial. You are watching the Worry-Free Retirement. We'll be right back.
This Tony Walker Financial 5-star review comes to us from Annie. True to their slogan, Tony Walker Financial really does take the worry out of retirement planning. More than that, they set the bar very high when it comes to customer service. From our first phone call and visit with Tony Walker Financial, we felt taken care of. Their competence and kindness shines through in every encounter. Tony Walker Financial truly embodies excellence, and other service organizations would do well to emulate the Tony Walker Financial approach. We have never been disappointed with Tony Walker Financial, as they continually exceed our expectations. We always leave their office feeling as if a weight has been lifted off of our shoulders. If you'd like to read more of our 5-star reviews, simply log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com.
Welcome back to the Worry-Free Retirement, and as we record today's show on September 23rd, 2025, I'm very thankful and blessed to be able to announce that we are getting ready to have our 4th of 5 client appreciation events. That's right, folks. Every year around this time of year, we do our best to make sure that our clients realize how much we appreciate them. In fact, we had already had a great dinner at Tony's, and not to be affiliated with Tony Walker Financial, wish they were, Tony's in Bowling Green, Kentucky. We had about 200 folks there. We'll be back there in October for another a client event there with about 200 people. We were able to entertain some of our Lexington clients at Malone's in Lexington the other day. We also met at Churchill Downs the other day, and we had over 700 of our clients at that event. That was a great one. Tonight we'll be on the Bella Louisville. We'll have Top Golf coming up pretty soon. Just a lot of fun. It's an opportunity for our clients to enjoy the staff and also just let them know how much we appreciate them. In fact, as I like to say, while more and more advisors seem to be appealing to people and buying steak dinners for complete strangers, we like to treat our clients to free steak dinners in appreciation for their business. All right, there are some Live Well, Die Broke moments I got to get to. Again, we're going to cover some good stuff coming up, but this is pretty cool. Our first Live Well, Die Broke moment took place at our Tony's event in Bowling Green, Kentucky. This is David and Tamara Gibson, and if you look closely, let's see if we can zoom in on that, Aaron. That's one of our Tony Walker Financial cardboard cutouts. They were awarded that, and they took that home. Now, the deal was a lot of people were clamoring for that cardboard cutout. They had to agree to put that outside the window when they were riding down the road. So I thought that was pretty cool, and they agreed to do that, I guess. Next, this was cool. At the Churchill Downs event that we just had, this is Mr. Cedric Moss, been a client for years. Check out this cool hat he made for me. Of course, he's already got one. This is stuff he likes to do on the side. So we very much appreciated Cedric, appreciate his business, and of course, really cool hat. Next, this is really neat. Now, this comes to us from Charles Jackson, been a client for years, and I want to zoom in on something in particular. Now, Mr. Jackson was also at the client event at Churchill Downs, but check out what he says at the end. I love this. He said, "Not once did anyone attempt to sell us something or talk about finances. This day was truly about appreciation, and Tony and his team executed it flawlessly. Thank you and your staff for all that you do to assist in our retirement Of course, Mr. Jackson says, stay blessed. Amen to that. Thank you so much for that. And by the way, speaking of these Google reviews, we've got nearly 200 five-star reviews. And if you're even thinking about looking at another advisor, you're having less confidence in who you might have, or you don't have anybody at all, I would log on right now to TonyWalkerFinancial.com, peek at those five-star reviews, because what you're going to see is our clients are very confident in not only our process, but also our staff. Okay, so we're talking about this idea of fewer and fewer savers being confident in their retirement, and how we at Tony Walker Financial are able to help so many people be worry-free in retirement. So to do so, I thought I would utilize my degree in psychology from Western Kentucky University to quote a theory by a psychologist, quite frankly I'm not real familiar with, named Albert Bandura, and something he refers to as his self-efficacy theory, and how it might apply to confidence, in my world, in retirement, and how we at Tony Walker Financial are following right along with this theory and what it takes for us to build confidence for our saver clients. So let's take a look at these four things Mr. Bandura mentions. Number one, for people to feel confident, they must know that the person they're trusting has mastery of experience. I love this. I love that term mastery. We're not just talking about experience. Heck yeah, some advisors have been in the business 20 or 30 years. But when you get into the art of retirement planning, my question is, have they mastered the experience of retirement planning? Probably not. Number two, he talks about this theory, the person in who you place your confidence also must have vicarious experience with other folks. Now, at first, I wasn't sure what he was talking about, but as I read further into his study, I thought about this and I said, my gosh, I really do, and also the staff does, has this vicarious experience going on every day. How is that? Because we have counseled so many people on retirement. So while I've never retired, Heather, one of the fiduciaries, isn't retired, Wes and Trey, all these fiduciaries, we're not retired yet. What we get to do is vicariously experience retirement and see how retirement plays out, because we have literally thousands of clients who are retired. In fact, I've met in person with more than 20,000 savers, and a lot of those people over the last 40 years I've met with are retired. So yes, I love the fact that vicariously we can share the experiences of our clients and those whom we've met with people who are thinking of retirement. We really do understand that world. All right, the third part of this theory of Mr. Bandura is this. These folks looking for confidence must have some sort of social persuasion. In other words, a saver doesn't know if they have done a good job or have enough money. Remember our questions earlier. A lot of these folks are just coming in and saying, Tony, I've got all this money in a 401k, and sometimes these are big numbers. I had a person that came in the other day, has a 401k of about $800,000, has a lump sum pension of another $600,000 or $700,000, whatever it was. I mean, this gentleman doesn't spend a lot of money, so that's $1.5 million, and he is worried sick that there is no way he's going to be able to retire. So why is he talking to us? Because he knows we know what we're talking about. He's looking for affirmation that he can do it. So how do we prove that he can do it in that case? It's our written game plan. You see, this written game plan is unlike anything else in the industry, folks. You probably don't have anything like this. This is not a financial plan. I used to do that years ago. That's not retirement planning. This is not a calculator. This is not some spreadsheet we stuck together. This is a written game plan. And what it does, tied into the live well, die broke philosophy, we're trying to show people that you need to have a plan to spend and enjoy this money before it's too late. And then as people get older, they can see where we back off the spending and the need for money, because as most people get older, they spend less money. Oh, by the way, there's a lot of people out there talking about the slow go, no go, all those stuff. I mean, everybody's copying ideas from everybody else. That was a Tom Hegna idea. I'm not sure Mr. Hegna may have gotten it from us. I've been talking about this idea of the three halves of life for more than 25 years. How did I know people would spend less in retirement as they got older? Because again, vicariously, I watched all this stuff play out. Again, folks, you need someone experienced to deal with what you're getting ready to deal with in retirement. And then finally, number 4, Bandura's self-efficacy theory relates to the physiological and emotional states of being. So let's think about this. What is the greatest fear of most savers in retirement? We've talked about this. It's the fear of one day running out of money. Let's put this study right back up there again, Aaron. This is the stuff savers are worried about. In this example, people are worried about running out of money in 22 years. I had somebody in the other day that said their broker was confident that the money should last to age 85. Well, how in the world could you have confidence in the future if you think you got to die by 85 to make this stuff work? So all of this idea of physiological and emotional stress that you have, it undermines confidence and it zaps the joy right out of the ability to enjoy your money. I mean, let's face it, it's hard to enjoy your money if you're constantly afraid that one day you'll run out. This is why we always ask our savers to strongly consider putting some, not all of it, but putting some of their money into annuities that can provide what we call
mailbox money.
So there you have it. The key to a worry-free retirement is having confidence in not just the products you're going to invest in, but more importantly, working with a specialist who has mastered the art of retirement planning and is going to be there for the long haul. So if you're a saver over the age of 50, have at least $250,000 in retirement assets, and you're looking for more confidence and you'd like to see what a written game plan might look for you, there's no cost or obligation to go through this process. In fact, we started off with something we call the free 10-minute fiduciary phone call, where you and I will talk by phone, and if I think we can be of help, we're going to meet and lay out this free game plan for you to review. Easy to take advantage of. Just log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com, click on that little red button, and we'll arrange that free phone call. Hey, internet not your thing? No worries. You can call us 24/7. That number, 877-499-9255. Well, what does the Bible have to say about being confident in our future? It has a whole lot to say. This is some good stuff coming up. You're going to want to stay tuned. This is the Worry-Free Retirement. We'll be right back. Have you recently retired, been laid off, or offered a buyout? Has the company you work for moved, been acquired, or closed its doors forever? And finally, do you have a 401k with a previous employer you'd like to move to safer territory? Then take advantage of this opportunity to move your 401k or lump sum pension to Tony Walker Financial. Let's meet in person to discuss your retirement options. Log on now to TonyWalkerFinancial.com to schedule your free, no obligation appointment. Let us help you today.
Welcome back to the Worry-Free Retirement with the money missionary himself, Tony Walker.
Recently, I spoke with a professional in his mid-60s who wanted my opinion on whether he should sell his business and liquidate all of his real estate holdings and then turn that money from the liquidation of his 401k and the sale of properties into a retirement so he could go on and retire with this income. I asked why he was thinking of doing this, and he said that he was just burned out at work and worried about managing all of these properties as he got a little older. I then asked him a question that I knew he could not answer. So, what do you think you could get for your business and your real estate? He quickly responded, at least $2 million. Then I asked, how do you know this? To which he replied, well, I just assume that's what they're worth. To which I confidently responded, sir, the old saying, a dollar isn't worth anything until it is converted to cash and used. My point, even if he could get $2 million for the 401k and his businesses and all that good stuff, which he knows that's hard to say, he is not thinking about all of the taxes he's going to owe and where then he's going to have to invest that money to produce the same income he now enjoys. My point is this: it's hard to be confident in your financial future when you really don't know what something is truly worth. And isn't that the case with our faith and how confident we are in our faith in God and, more importantly, our standing with Him? To truly think of the God of the universe, His amazing love for us, and us one day spending eternity with Him requires not only faith, but a ton of confidence in what the Bible tells us about Him. Because let's face it, it is only by faith that we can believe what it is we believe. As Paul states in 1 Corinthians 2:9, he says this, things which eye has not seen nor ear heard, and which have not entered the heart of man, all that God has prepared for those who love Him, which again is not something one can see, but must believe. Thankfully, the Bible gives us first-hand glimpses of this God of the universe, as told by the apostles who heard directly from Christ, as well as countless promises from the prophets of old, like Isaiah, where in 44:18, he talks about hearing directly from God and what we need to expect. This is why this book, the Bible, is so important. Not only to remind us of who God is and what He wants for our lives, but the words within its pages restores our faith. It maintains our faith, and yes, even renews our confidence in the things we cannot see and sometimes cannot hear. As our confidence formula for success points out, to remain confident in our faith, we must have a process in place of repetition of reading the Bible on a regular basis, because to do so, as Paul states all the way through Galatians 5:1 through 10, this process of repetition will allow us to be reminded that it is God who provides the faith to believe. It's not something we can just drum up on our own. Ephesians 3:12 says the same thing. Being confident in who we are, where we are headed, is totally different from being too cocky to think about it. In fact, with all of this confidence comes this very warning that we need to be really careful and not forget the source of our faith and where this confidence truly lies. This is what Paul says in 1 Corinthians 10:12 as he reminds us to not put too much faith in our confidence. Charles Spurgeon echoes this thought in his morning devotional where he says, "It is God and only God who is able to sustain you and I." In other words, never forget that it's God who we place our true confidence in, and not yourself, and not myself, and not man. Amen? Well, maybe that's you right now. The question is, who are you trusting with your life savings right now? And be honest, how confident are you in the decisions you've made in working with that person or that institution and exactly what they provided you to be confident in your future? Maybe you're like a lot of savers I meet who have zero confidence in what the heck's going on, and they are simply looking for somebody local, an experienced retirement planning firm who can provide them a written game plan that they can first of all understand and know that they are confident that this firm in whom they are about to trust is going to be there not just when they retire, but there for the long haul. So if that's you, if you're thinking about retiring in the very near future, maybe you've been retiring for years and you are not feeling so confident about your future, let's talk. And boy, we made this easy to do. We called it the free 10-minute fiduciary phone call, where you and I will talk by phone, and if I think I can be of help, we are then going to meet in person to lay out a game plan, something you've never seen before, to build that confidence you need to be worry-free in retirement. So take advantage of this free phone call. Just simply log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com. You're going to click on that little Let's Get Started button, or if the internet's not your thing, call us anytime. We have operators standing by. That phone number is 877-499-9255. Well, we've enjoyed being with you this week. You remember, though, between now and next week on the Worry-Free Retirement, if all else fails, you be worry-free and you make it a good one.